Hello. As a child I had a dream, and that dream was to go to Nepal. I did go to Nepal, and I never expected to come back and found a children's charity, but I did, and this is what's happened, and this is why I need your help. Enjoy. It was whilst on my trek with my friend Kishor, and 5 days into that trek we stopped at a little village in the middle of nowhere, and it was mid-afternoon, and we put our bags into one of the tea houses that we were staying in, and I went off for a little wander on my own. And it was whilst I was walking around the village that I came across a little boy. The little boy I now know to be called Kishor. He was probably 10 or 11 years of age. Now, not having heard any English spoken for a number of days, he held out his hand and he said, "Good afternoon, my name is Kishor, how nice to meet you." Well, he could have knocked me down with a feather at this stage, and his little friend who was embarrassed was giggling at his side. He then said to me, "Would you like to come and see my school?" So I did. I followed him and his friend, and we scrambled over the rocks and we went into the back way of the school. And I stood at the classroom entrance and the teacher beckoned me in, so I sat down with the children and I listened to the teacher in Nepali teaching them history. It was a little difficult for him at this stage because most of the children's attention was focused on me. At the end of the class I said my thank yous to the teacher, and then Kishor asked me if I would like to follow him and meet his family. So I thought him for a penny, so I followed him further up the mountain. And a little while later we came to his home, and I was met by his mother, his grandmother and his elder sister and brother. They made me incredibly welcome, and being so poor in Nepal, a huge delicacy and a luxury is actually popcorn. They grow the corn so they can make it fresh. So I sat down with them all outside in the veranda, and Kishor fetched his little English book, and he showed me this book, and he was so proud of it, and it had been thumbed, you could tell, many, many times. And he told me how he taught himself some English, and I think basically he'd accosted any Western traveller that had come through his village so that he could teach himself some more English. And at the end of my visits it was time to say goodbye, and I said to him, "What would you like to do in the future when you leave school?" And he said he wanted to go to Kathmandu to learn to become a teacher and to come back to his valley and to teach the children of future generations. And this at the time just struck a real chord in my heart, and I thought, there's something I've got to do to help these children, and I wasn't sure what it was at the time. Now, he was the first of a number of encounters and experiences, and it just showed me firsthand the children's desire and yearning to go to school, because for them education is everything. However simple, however basic, they want to go to school. So when I came home eventually, I decided that actually an educational charity was the way to go. We are a small charity, and although in my heart of hearts I'd like us to be huge in order that we can do massive things, we can't, and we have to focus on the small things that we can do and that we can achieve. And this is what we're doing. Peter and I are rebuilding existing schools. It's our hope in the future to build a new school. We're helping children with their education, with the sponsorships. The building is in such a poor state of repair. The windows don't have any glass in them. Around the roof of the building, the actual ceiling, the outside ceiling, doesn't meet, so you have a good foot gap, which again allows all the elements in. Very sporadic electricity, in most cases none at all. So they have no power, they're open to all the elements, and they have to learn and be comfortable in this environment. And in most cases they're used to that, but it's not ideal. So when we were speaking with the headmistress and the teacher and the local community and trying to establish what it was they wanted for their children, first and foremost, it was a nice, warm, secure building to go to school in. And this is what we're doing. We've started from scratch, At home here in the UK, we've been working hard on fundraising. We're doing everything that we possibly can, from simple things, cake bakes, marathon running, half marathon running, any which way we can. Lots of talks and presentations. We're selling items here from Nepal in order to raise money so that we can come back to the community and we can build the school. And it's such an amazing and satisfying feeling when you see the photographs coming back from Nepal, to see what people here in the UK, by their giving, have achieved. We have been able to take the building back down to pretty much to the ground, and using local labour, we have rebuilt the school. So new stone walls, new window frames, new door frames, a new roof. It's becoming watertight, weathertight, windtight. We're then going to provide new furniture for the children. We've already provided a new school uniform for them, and this was made to measure. Last time I was there, I sat down and measured every single child, and then I went back to Kathmandu and I went to a local tailor, and they made the uniforms, and they are so proud of those uniforms, you wouldn't believe. And it's actually having an effect in the community. People who are walking past and their children perhaps go to another school in another district are saying, where did those come from? And it's making them feel very proud of wearing that uniform. So it's having an effect on the community, and people are wanting to send their children to this school because they can also see the new school building sort of rising from the ashes, as it were. We're hopefully going to be finishing the building works in the next few months. And then what we would like to do, again, to make it a better environment for the children, is to provide them with a nice playground. At the moment they have a muddy field, which, as you can imagine, in monsoon time becomes an absolute quagmire, and that's all they have to play in. When we were there last time, we said to the children, what would you like? And all they said and all they asked for were footballs and skipping ropes and a ping pong table. And this is what we're going to give them. And to enable us to rebuild that school, everything has to be done by hand. There is no mechanical equipment. Anything that's carried, broken, is done by hand. From the riverbed to the top, the stone is carried in a basket on a man's back. Now the riverbed is probably 2 hours away, so you can imagine up and down in the heat and the monsoon, the stress and the strains that places. But they are so willing and happy to do that work because they know what that's giving to the local community and to their children. From the back of the school, we've had to cut down. The mountainside came straight into the rear of the building, the main building, and they've had to cut a channel to irrigate the back of the building. They've cut it 10 feet deep and about 2 meters wide, and everything has been carried out by hand, again on a man's back. It's taken away and it's reused elsewhere in the project. It's then backfilled to allow the irrigation, and they've built the most beautiful stone wall to hold back the mountainside. And the stonework is just superb, their craftsmanship. And this again is all done by hand. They have no electric saws, they have no grinders, it's just done with their own 2 hands and their natural ability. To provide the materials, the local labour force, the furniture, the stationery, the books, everything to complete that project, we're looking at between £5,000 and £6,000 complete. If you know anybody that would like to help us with that work, we'd be very, very grateful indeed. And you can see actually how little can achieve so much. What we're also doing is, to say, we're sponsoring individual children, and we have as one of our children a little boy called Ashal, who sadly his father was killed whilst he was trying to save the life of another. So Ashal and his mother were very lucky and were able to go back to Kathmandu to live with her family. And this she did. She has 2 sons, and sadly one of them had to go to other relatives because they just couldn't afford to keep both children in the same household. Ashal, if we hadn't have funded his education, wouldn't have been able to go to school. And now it's absolutely marvellous to see that by the monthly donation of someone here in the UK, he's now able to go to school and he's receiving a superb education, and he's happy, which is great. He's made new friends and he's in a loving, supportive environment. But as I say, if we hadn't have had the sponsorship by local people here, that wouldn't have happened. So that's one little life we've been able to help. We also have other children. We have a young girl who's come from Sonakhumbu district to Kathmandu and is now going to a lovely school in Kathmandu. And again, this is through the kind generosity of a person here in the UK. On average, we're looking between sort of £10 a month and £30 a month, depending on where they go and what their needs are, to sponsor a child's education. The £30 a month provides hosteling, their food, their uniform, their educational materials, their examination fees and their entrance fees, and tiffin. The £9 a month is a simple school, a good school, but the child is able to still live with their family, so there are no hostel needs required. So it varies, but £9, £10 and £30 are quite an achievable amount on a monthly basis. To give you some idea of what things cost in Nepal, a child's school uniform made to measure would cost approximately £9. That would include a pair of leather shoes, a jumper, a shirt, a tie, a skirt or a pair of trousers, all for £9, made to measure, and they are beautiful. And if someone wanted something perhaps in their name or remembrance of somebody, even a school bell, and we could have a school bell engraved and say this is in memory of or in honour of or an achievement of, that would just be superb, because everyone then can take an ownership of one certain part of our charity, and that's just great for us. Our dream and our hope is to develop and to grow and to inspire others, and we can only do this with the help of everybody out there, spreading the word, telling people who we are and what we do. We're often asked by various people that we meet who the charity is. Well, we are the charity. This is what you get. We are very small. It's just myself and my husband Peter. We drive everything. Be rest assured that every single penny that you can give us, be it £10, £100, £1,000 would be marvellous, but every single penny that you give goes exactly and directly to the work that we're carrying out in Nepal. None of it is secreted or wasted away on administration costs. For example, when we're flying to Nepal, Peter and I pay our flights ourselves. It doesn't come out of charity funding, and therefore every single penny that you've donated will go to our work. If you would like to contact us to make a donation, or know anybody that would like to help us with a donation of any kind, however small, we will be very, very grateful. And you can do that by contacting us at www.nepalchildrenseducation.org. Our registered charity number here in the UK is 1140503. We hope you now better understand our work in Nepal. And if you feel in any way you could help, we would be so very grateful. From myself and from Peter, and more importantly from the children in Nepal, we thank you. Dhanibat.